What's going on, everyone? This is the greatest travel podcast in the universe. Most likely, we hope. I am with a travel expert in Costa Rica, co-owner of Paddle 9 Adventure Company. We're with Matt here. And Matt was my guide when I was in Costa Rica over a year ago and took me to everywhere in Manuel Antonio that I wanted to see. It is top 5 regions in the world for me, just because if you know anything about me, I love adventure. I can't sit still. Waterfalls, surfing, the jungle. Matt, the national park is one of the most biodiverse places in Costa Rica, if not Central America. Is that correct?
It's definitely up there, and it's the reason that Capos County is the most visited county in Central America, because so many people come to the Manuel Antonio National Park. And yes, because there is an abundance of wildlife. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and Matt actually moved from the U.S. and now lives in Costa Rica, started this company from the ground up with a business partner, and it was a stand-up paddleboarding company, and now you guys do everything. So you do waterfall tours, surfing, kayak tours, and all that, correct?
Yes, there's been quite an evolution of the business. And as the name states, paddle, and the number 9 is the latitude on which Costa Rica lies. But when we started the company, my business partner was here previous to me. They had another company that did parasailing, and he had the foresight to want to switch the business model over to more of a water sports based situation with paddleboards. And he was doing some paddleboard tours. He was doing some more haphazard waterfall stuff, not necessarily the system that we have today. But the mainstay of what we did before was ocean paddleboarding and mangrove paddleboarding tours. And then we also used to throw in some what we called paddleboard yoga, but it was more of a boot camp that I was teaching back then. And then we brought in some actual paddleboard yoga instructors after a while. But that was the basics of what Paddle 9 did primarily in the beginning. And we were the first ones to actually bring paddleboarding to this general region. I don't know of anyone else that had paddleboards really in the country at that time, but definitely we were the first with paddleboards here in Manuel Antonio and Capos.
Yeah, and just so you know, if you haven't read anything on this podcast, this is going to be the best things to do in Manuel Antonio. Places to eat, things to see, secrets that Matt's going to share with us. So, like I said, the greatest region in North America, in the Americas. I love it. Have to get there, and we're going to tell you why. Is there anything that you love the most down there? I mean, I know my answer is the falls you took me to, but where would you say are kind of like the must-see things?
I mean, we pick the waterfalls that we go to for obvious reasons, because they are absolutely incredible. But like, just the general aspect of what's so beautiful about Manuel Antonio has got to be the wildlife and the topography. It's where the mountain and jungle, essentially kiss the ocean, which doesn't happen a whole lot of places on the planet. So that makes Manuel Antonio pretty special. And then to just pepper more beauty into that, how much wildlife is just running around here. Anything from 3 different types of species of monkey to very large scarlet macaws, to sloths, to the myriad of lizards and reptiles and a million amazing, prehistoric looking insects that you can find. So if, critters and fauna are your thing, Manuel Antonio is definitely a place you want to visit.
Yeah, I saw all the monkeys. I saw the pit viper. Is that what it's called? It's the most lethal.
The terciopelo, Yep.
Yeah.
The ferdilance.
Yes, the ferdilance. That's the term I was looking for. The notorious ferdilance. We got to see that when Matt's tour guide took me through the Manuel Antonio National Park. So that was incredible. And I think what's so wild about that area is like you're literally in that national park, which is the most biodiverse area I've been in terms of being so close to such a wide variety of animals. But then it's like right on the most beautiful beach you've ever seen as well, which is crazy. So
yes. Yeah, the beaches are quite beautiful. There's some nice waves here too. So if you like to surf, it's nice for that. But for sure, the Manuel Antonio National Park, when you're inside there, has some very special white sandy beaches. So obviously it's not public, but if you're willing to pay the $16 it costs to get in there, it might be 18 now, I forget. But you can find some pretty cool little hidden, secluded gem beaches for yourself in the white sand in there. And the water is brilliantly blue. It's very nice. But yeah, in addition to that, there's just tons of monkeys and wildlife running around in there. But yeah, it's an amazing place. Amazing place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know with your tour, I was able to go do everything, pay for the tour with you guys. And then you can just kind of be released on the beaches. So you can kind of like do a 2-for-1 and just spend the rest of the day at any of those beaches that you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah, we give you that option if you do the national park tour with us. You can either take the transportation back to your place of stay, or we can leave you at the beach so you can hang out for the remainder. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity there. And then on the other tours that we do as well, we do go to a really cool beach called Playa Ventanas, which is the last stop on our full-day waterfall tour, which is really cool. It's called Playa Ventanas, which means Windows Beach. It's because there's these abandoned lava tube caves that you can literally see out to the ocean. So the waves are physically coming in from the horizon, breaking inside these two pretty large lava tube caves, and you can see right from the beach out to the horizon outside, and that's really cool. So people are pretty fascinated by that quite a bit at the end of the day.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I need to check that out when I'm back there as well.
Yeah, you didn't do the full day. You did the Nyaka tour. We have another couple waterfall tours that we do that are really amazing and really engaging as well. Nyaka is, it's my first love here. I will say that it's, I know every nook and cranny of that place, and it's large and beautiful and majestic, and there's lots of things to do and lots of things to see. But you do have to hike a little bit to get there. So that's kind of one of the ways that we break down our touring. Our full day tour is much smaller waterfalls, but they're very interactive, and there's essentially zero hiking to arrive at them. We have a little bit of drive time, but there's very short couple-minute walks to get to the waterfall itself. And then we go to 3 different waterfalls that have jumps from as low as 10 feet up to 30 feet. And then there's a naturally occurring 25-foot natural water slide. It's a waterfall itself. Thousands or hundreds of thousands of years of water going over top of this rock surface have completely smoothed it out that you can, like any water park you've ever been to, that's like the Shotgun Falls. It's got like a 45-degree angle, and you just plummet right into the blue pool below, which is pretty cool, and people really like that. Definitely one of the meat and potato parts of the tour that we do, but that's on our full-day excursion. Next time you're back, you'll have to do that too with us, brother.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. It looks amazing. And then I know
cool.
Nyaka Falls, if I'm saying that correctly, his guides had me climb up the waterfall, which was one of the more intense, incredible memories I have as well. Like the water just pounding down on you as you're kind of crawling up the waterfall. And it was, I had to like blind give my hand to one of his guides and like help me find my hand in certain spots because you're completely blind by the waterfall. It was wild. It was cool.
Yeah, it's a cool experience. You don't look when you come down and you look at the waterfall. You don't think in a couple minutes from then you're going to be climbing up it, face first, like you said, with the water calming down. All you can't see anything, and it's kind of a blind climb. But you just got to kind of listen to the guides and trust them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then you also have the Eco Chantalis waterfall. Am I saying
Correct.
that correctly?
Eco Chantalis. Yeah, Eco Chantalis.
I need to work on my Spanish clearly.
Yeah, that one. So that one's like it's a similar kind of thing to Nyaka. We only go to one spot, but we enjoy different features that the riverbed has to offer. But it is also very tall. This one is just one tier. Nyaka has 2 tiers, as you recall. There's the lower level and then the upper tier. This one is just kind of one big fall. It's probably about 150 feet high.
Yeah,
with a
gorgeous.
nice pool below for swimming. It's really nice. Pretty shallow. The pool is a little more shallow, so it's nice. You can kind of have some wading areas, but you can get right below the actual cascading of the waterfall, which is really beautiful. Excellent photos. As a photographer, I love taking photos there. A lot of amazing features, a lot of good composition, a lot of good coloring and light. So that's really nice. But then we kind of move our way down. We do It's called the Blue Avatar Face Mask Experience, and we have this really amazing blue clay that a friend of ours owns a nice property high up in the Savegre River where he harvests this mineral deposit that's very high in zinc and other antioxidants. And during the fruit snack that we cut up at the riverside, we put this blue clay on everybody. You're welcome to put it on your face, on your body, but it has excellent medicinal properties, exfoliating properties, detoxing, pulls out impurities from your skin. So that's really cool. And you literally look like a blue avatar. So it's fun for photos in that capacity, which people really like. And then for the more adrenaline seeking people, when the river allows and the depth is enough, there is a 28-foot jump that we will do. And then any time of the year, there is a 10-foot jump off of this little rock with the waterfall background that everybody can do all year. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, I mean, you can check out my Instagram or Paddle Nines. It's the Nyaka and the Icochantalas Falls are two of the most gorgeous waterfalls I've ever seen. I mean, they're Havasupai Falls and some other ones in Asia. Like, the color, everything about them is just stunning. So those are two of my favorite things that you absolutely have to see. And before I forget, paddle9sup.com is their website, or just message me. I'll send you their info for the guides. But you actually absolutely have to use them because I saw some of the most stunning sights I've ever seen using them. But yeah, I love those falls. Those are gorgeous. The pools below. There's that restaurant as well where it was like a grandmother just cooking you authentic food at the very bottom was really cool. So love that.
Yeah,
another
$1,000. Yeah, it's just right by the river spot.
Yeah. Another thing I have for my must-do things, Manuel Antonio, is a quick visit to Quepos, which is kind of the more, what do you call it? Authentic. So Manuel Antonio is more touristy, and then Quepos is more the where the locals are. Would you say?
Yes, and not to just correcting if you want to say the name of the town correctly.
Yeah,
you don't pronounce the U, so it's Quepos.
I knew that. What's the main? What's his name? The tour guide I used. We're friends on Instagram.
Maybe Ismail. I don't know.
Yeah, Ismail. He would kick my ass for not saying Quepos.
Right. We always on the tour on the way out. They kind of talk about the historic features, and they say, "Go to Quepos, we might push you off the waterfall." So I'm going to remind them. Quepos. But just like Quepos, no Q. We don't pronounce.
I remember they specifically fucking told me that. I'm sorry, Ismail.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty big on that. It's just because the pronunciation is a big thing, and the town is named after an indigenous tribe that used to live, the Quepoa. So it's a slightly disrespectful to use the name of a town as the exact name of the tribe, so they changed the letter, but they were the Quepoa, and they named Quepos. They just changed an A for an S. Nice. But yeah, as you said, that's the appropriate word. It's much more of an authentic Costa Rican experience. A lot more of a local vibe down in Quepos than in, say, Manuel Antonio. There's very much a touristy infrastructure here. So it's pretty eclectic, but Quepos is very authentic, if you will.
Yeah, and it was cool. I mean, just something to just stroll around the streets for a few hours, have lunch. There's a marina that's a little bit more Americanized, but there's a couple restaurants that your guides, Ismail and someone else told me, but one big thing, it's Soda La Feria, but I think I have to tell everyone to eat at, which Ismail and yourself, I think, said is like, whenever you see something that's called a soda, like stop and eat there. Cause it's always a grandma stewing chicken and it's $2 for a plate, 3, 4, whatever it is, nothing. And oh my God, the food is incredible.
Yeah. Yes. It's funny. Like people don't know that the word soda just means kind of like, you're like a family-owned little restaurant, and it's like a family recipe. They're usually very small. Some of them gain popularity and grow in size. The other one that I'm sure they mentioned to you, Soda La Feria, is good. They sold it, so it's not. It's switched owners now. It's a little bit different. Still good though. But then there's one called Soda Sanchez, which is really good. Has become very popular. But yeah, your standard plate, you're looking at like a casado, which is like a Costa Rican typical food, like a protein, rice, beans, salad, maybe patacones or like plátanos or algo así, but the pricing is probably about $4 to $5 a plate and up. So you can get a good caliber of food, super fresh, super local, super healthy. Not it's not going to hurt your pockets. So if you see a soda, they're not selling soda, which I've had that question before. They like the one time this guy on the tour bus was like, "What's your guys' fascination? Why is everybody selling soda here?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't know. I just see signs for soda everywhere." And I was like, "No, soda means like restaurant. It's a small restaurant." And he was like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense." So I was glad to clear that up for him.
Yeah, and I'm not an expert, but I'm a pretty well-traveled person, and like I never had any idea. So had you not told me that, I went to a bunch when I was in La Fortuna, and I was always finding them out because it was just the local best food. So I'm so glad I learned that, and now other people are learning it as well.
Yeah, totally. Food's delicious, super cheap, nice place to go, good authentic vibe.
Yeah. Is there anything else in the area that you really love or suggest?
So I got a couple little spots in Capos. I mean, I have my spots up here, and I'm just going to be straight up. Obviously, I have my recommendations for the viewers at home. I'm more of a, like, I eat, the food that I eat during the day is the food that we use on the tours because we pick them for a reason. They're fantastic. On the full day tour, we go to this incredible sustainable organic tilapia farm. It's family owned, and they treat the tilapia beautifully. But I always eat on that tour, and then I eat they serve me a very large plate, so I don't do a whole lot of eating when I go home. But on my days that I do go out on occasions, Soda Sanchez, as I said, is definitely one of those places. There's also kind of another place that was just recent. I'm giving this hot tip. Personally, haven't experienced it, but I've seen it every day of my life since I've lived here, and I didn't realize it was as popular as it is. There's this Italian place called L'Angola, which is an Italian owner, and apparently the sandwiches, the lasagna, and the Italian cuisine are second to none, and it's relatively affordable. But I'm told this is a must-do stop in the middle of Capos. It's not Costa Rican authentic cuisine, but I'm told it's excellent Italian cuisine. And the owner is an Italian guy who's been living in Capos for upwards of 35 years, I'm told. He's been here for a couple generations at this point. But that is a really amazing spot. And then also a place that you want to hit if you're here on Friday or Saturday is go to the actual La Feria, which is the farmer's market. It starts on Friday night at 5 o'clock and it goes until 9 p.m. And then it is happening again on the morning of the next day and Saturday morning. And it goes, I think they start setting up the shop around 7 and they're done by like 12 in the afternoon. So it's at night the first night, the morning on Saturday, where you can get incredible local raised, produce, meat, whatever, poultry, all that stuff, fish that's caught that day. They have really good local dairy products, amazing cheeses that are made locally. So people have nothing but good things to say about those products there. You can find like handcrafted and handmade souvenirs and clothing. A buddy of ours makes these amazing tortillas. What's it called? Tortillas Helen's Tortillas. So one of our buddies here, another local expat, he makes these 3-ingredient tortillas that are amazing. If you want to make a burrito or something, that gets sold there. So it's just kind of everybody's little their pieces of their heart that they have to offer to the community, and they sell really amazing stuff there. You can get cool plants if you want some plants and stuff for your house. If you want, I wish I had a better green thumb. I even bought some of these. They're called, what are those called?
Seeds?
What are those little mini? No, not. I want to say it's not. Is it called a succulus? They're like those little mini like cactuses. I forget the word for it.
Succulent.
But they're supposed to be super easy to take care of. Succulent. That's it.
Yeah.
You can get tons of those that are really cool. They got a bunch of cool stuff, and it's a nice thing to make a night out of. You walk around. They have it in this little parking lot plaza, so there's fun stuff to see. They got some music going on and things like that. The kids can get like shaved ices and ice creams handmade right there. There's just a lot of cool little stuff. They got candy. There's a whole bunch of things that make it a nice, authentic experience. So that's on Fridays and Saturdays. Highly recommend. There's a couple other spots in there. There is this place that I like. If you like rotisserie chicken, this place is called what used to be called Chicken Bros, and now or Chicken on the Run. And it's not fast food, but it's like a chain kind of place. But they have this deal. You get 8 pieces of rotisserie chicken, no white meat, so it's like legs and thighs, and then you get a side of rice and 2 big sides of rice and beans, and it's 6,000 colones. I think it went up to 6,500. So it's $12, and you get 8 pieces of chicken and a big side of rice and a big side of beans. So if you're looking for a tasty, delicious, and very economic deal, that is a local hidden gem. That's a little hot tip people can do, because the rotisserie chicken is banging, and that price, like, I get 3 good meals out of that. So in this time of high inflation and, pinching pockets, if you want a tasty, high protein meal, that's a hot tip from me, from yours truly.
Love it. Yeah, no, especially all the sauces that are down there. I mean, chicken, sauce, and rice and beans. Oh my God. It's so good. All the salsas.
Yeah, I mean, I can't eat enough chicken and rice. That's all I eat. I eat chicken and rice here.
Yeah, I love it. And also, I've got a bunch of other kind of like the tourist area restaurants. So inspiretraveleat.com, as hopefully you know the website, and just search Manuel Antonio in there. All these things will pop up. These other restaurants, things that Matt mentioned, will pop up in the article. So check those out, inspiretraveleat.com. That's some great places to eat. I know something unique on the way out, and maybe you can also give an example, or not example, suggestions for the best way to get out to Manuel Antonio. Because any tourist, you'll fly into San Jose, and then on the way from San Jose, you get to stop at the Crocodile Bridge, which I'm not going to butcher the name. And then there's also in Yaco, there's like the viewpoint with all the macaws. So what, I guess to follow up with that, Matt, what's your suggestions to get out to Manuel Antonio, and then maybe shed some light on the Crocodile Bridge and all else?
Sure. Yeah, those are definitely like mainstay points that people will typically see on the way in coming from the north. So just for viewers at home, my biggest thing when I go to and from San Jose, people don't know this exists. We do have domestic flights here. There's 2 places called SANSA and Costa Rica Green Airways. So www.flysansa.com. I'm not sponsored. Sponsor me, Sansa, so I can get some free flights. But it's an 18-minute flight. And depending upon the time of year, you can get flights one way per person as low as $70.
Oh, wow.
Give or take. And then in high season, the price goes up to like 100. Sometimes if you want to fly on like a weekend and it's the most popular peak time, I think it goes up to $130. But I'll put it like this. I mean, as the crow flies, you come up, you fly over, and you land. I mean, on a long end, it's a 20-minute flight, whereas driving, you're looking at 3 hours. And as far as like your price point, it's pretty cost effective, because if you take private shuttle and you're like 2 people, you're still paying $200 to get a shuttle from San Jose to Manuel Antonio. So this is very much in line with that. If you have a whole family and you got 7-8 people, obviously it's going to start to get a little bit more expensive than putting everybody in that van. Because after the $200 mark, then they just start adding like $10 a person or something like that. It doesn't go up that much. But if you're a couple, highly recommend flying Sansa Air or Costa Rican Green Airways. Costa Rica Green Airways have excellent machines as well. And I think their price point doesn't go down quite as low as Sansa, but it's about $100 to $130 per person per way. So that's a hot tip. People don't know about that. One of my suggestions to a lot of my clients is, if you've never been to Costa Rica,
on me for a second as he's getting to the good stuff.
The van and enjoy the ride, like see the landscape. See the topography, stop at Torcoles, which is the Crocodile Bridge. See that? These things are like fucking dinosaurs. There's literally one called Mike Tyson. He's like 20 feet long. If you've never seen crocodiles in your life, or if you've seen crocodiles in your life and you want to see huge ones and like 40 of them all at once, definitely stop. You'll see when you're crossing that bridge, which happens to be the land border between the North Pacific and the Central Pacific of Costa Rica. That is actually the divide right there. And then when you come from there, when some of our tours, we get into the South Pacific. So people that do it get to see all parts of the Costa Rica. But my point is, when you're crossing that bridge, you'll know it, because you'll see people outside your window on the like over by the bridge looking down. Once you see that, you've made it to Torcoles, the Crocodile Bridge. And it's definitely a sight to behold. So I highly recommend, with your first time and you've never been to the country, do that ride in, and then set yourself up to fly back to San Jose via domestic flight. Makes it a lot easier. That ride is a lot more exciting when you're coming in and your vacation has just started and you're in a new place and you're like excited about everything. But if you're trying to cut your travel time down on the way back to home when you're less excited, back to reality, you want to cut your travel time down as much as possible. A hot tip is to take that domestic flight out. All right.
Back from the break, we lost Matt. He's frozen in time. He may hop on back here in a little bit, but when he does, get some closing takes from him. Best things to do, we went over Quepos. I also love to volunteer when I travel, so there is a great travel volunteer company that I always work, which is Maximo Nivel. Again, for all this stuff, just go to the website, inspiretravellead.com. It's all there, as well as links. But Maximo Nivel, I helped build a soccer field in a really impoverished area in Costa Rica where you could hear gun shootings literally in the background. There's an area we weren't even allowed to drive into, which is on the other side of this giant fence from the park where we built everything. The park itself used to be an old factory-ish area and just whatever, and they refurbished it once the company went bankrupt. And yeah, refurbished it into a bit of a city park with all this really cool stuff. And we were able to help refurbish a soccer field, create a soccer field there, which is amazing. Maximo Novel has a place in San Jose, and they also have a place in, Manuel Antonio. So check that out. I love to volunteer. You can do that for a week, 2 weeks, as long as you want. Incredible. The national park. The local nightlife. I went to the local nightlife. Matty also told me in Quepos. I went to the local nightlife in Quepos. He even gave me like a touch of a warning, and it was correct. Not being Spanish speaking, I went to Republic in Quepos. Oh, he's trying to come back in here. And I was definitely looked at a lot, so I didn't stay too long. What's going on? We're back. Matt's back. I kind of took it over. Yeah, I was just telling him about some nightlife. Is there anything else?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I'm like playing musical chairs. I apologize, man. Look, that's one of the sides of Costa Rica, man. Our internet is good sometimes. Sometimes you're seeing firsthand example of what we have to deal with. So I apologize for that. I had to move again.
I was just kind of wrapping up a few different things with some nightlife. Is there any kind of must-hit places that you suggest as we kind of close up?
In which part, here or anywhere?
Just anything in. If you were visiting the Manuel Antonio area, is there anything that we kind of left out that you really suggest?
There's a new club called Ecstasy if you want to extend your evening into the wee hours. And then Selena is it's like an upscale like co-oping what's the word, hostel situation. But it's very nice. It caters to kind of young executive travelers. There's always usually very good looking people staying there. And there's many of them all over Central America. And the one here particularly has done a good job of kind of outfitting itself. Because one of the issues that we have here is things that go into the late night hours, they have to be soundproofed a certain way because the music can be very disruptive to wildlife at night. And in addition to the community. So they re-kitted the whole place so that when they have really cool DJs come, the place is soundproofed so that the bass doesn't carry out. So they've done the right thing, and they bring in some really cool DJs that on weekends people tend to flock there and have a good time. Plenty of dancing. They do salsa lessons and stuff as well, but that's called Selena.
Yeah, and what was the name of that place again? Sorry, I missed that. Of course, right when I asked, you froze. Oh, there you are. What was the name of the place with the hostel with the club? Yes, that's right. I did go there. It is a good spot.
Yeah. It's not always busy,
nice.
But on weekends, it's a good spot to start. Like I said, it goes a little bit later than other places because they've soundproofed everything. And then if you are looking to continue, there's some places that are good for, like this goes down in Quepos called Republic, and there's a couple other clubs down there. But for the most part, Selena and this other place called Ecstasy is the club here.
Definitely.
Manuel Antonio is, like I said, it's a smaller, family-friendly environment, and we have a ton of wildlife, so there's a lot of regulatory things. But those two places are the only places that have permission to go beyond 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we went to actually a few places of those. Great. Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on a bunch of stuff. I know some other things I had down was just beach hopping, which we kind of touched on. Eating all the fresh fruit. Costa Rica is such a great place for all these random fruits that would cost $5 each in the US. There you can get for, fractions of that, which is awesome. So trying all that, really diving into the culture. But yeah, I think we nailed out a bunch of the good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
What is there one? Oh, and yeah, I mean, fishing trips. There's great, obviously, fishing in Costa Rica. You guys do all the stuff on the water, surfing lessons, paddle boarding, kayak trips. So if you want to get it on the water, paddle9sup.com for that. But yeah, I know we're having some internet issues, so we'll knock this out. So thank you, Matty. Instagram is Matty Ruggs with a Z at the end.
Yeah, and then my personal is MattyRugz, and then Paddle9 is PADDLE, the number 9, Paddle9.
Paddle9. And yeah, hit them up for all of your adventure needs. I am going to be following suit with Matt and maybe moving down to Costa Rica because I think he's got it made down there, the right decision.